This is Lady Myya. Hello, you guys. I am back with another podcast. We're having this fun. We got things to do. We got people to talk to today. Okay, so, all right, I got Ed and Angel. Y'all, I'm trying to tell you, I had to run my mouth before I even got here, right? But we gonna do this. So I'm gonna introduce Mr. Ed and Miss Angel. They are like my fellow Northerners. So I definitely appreciate that. My Mayan tribe, please welcome Mr. Ed and Miss Angel. Hello, you guys.
Hello, everyone.
I am super excited because, you guys have a book, of course. But at the same time, you guys started this thing long before this book ever even came into view, you guys. So you got to tell everyone, what did you do or why? No. Start from the very beginning. This is what I need. Come on.
Okay, in the beginning, my mom met my dad. No.
Not that beginning.
Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, we put this in a book because we tell the story of how we met.
Yeah.
We for high school sweethearts. I was an athlete, the star athlete, as I was. And so I saw my wife at the bus stop one day and I asked a friend, who's that young lady over there? And then, long story short, I met her. I liked her. I was gonna beat up my best friend for her, but he liked her also. And then it just blossomed into that. And then I knew. I tell you this. I knew in my heart that she's the one who I was looking for because I never felt the way that I felt when I saw her and when I met her, and for anyone. And then I knew my mom solidified it and confirmed it when she said, no, you're in love. I said, no, I'm not. But then kind of find out, yes, I was in love. And yes, and I want people to know, yes, relationships can last. So I asked her to marry. I gave her 24 hours to let me know.
24 hours.
I gave her 24 hours to let me know. I said, listen, I want to marry you. This is after a couple of months.
Yeah.
I said, I want to marry you. I said, I'll give you 24 hours, let me know. Let me know tomorrow. And I left.
I was still in high school. And of course, I was like, sir.
I was out of high school, graduated.
He was, a couple of years ahead of me. And so I admired his boldness, but I was like, sir, not with me. First of all, we're going to have to do this the right way. And
she, my girlfriend, didn't even know it.
Right. Because in his mind, I should have known that. But as we talk about it in the book, it's important to speak on how you feel, what's going on in your mind. But it was very funny. I have to admit that was a funny part of the start of our relationship. But I did set the standard. I was like, sir, I got stuff to do. I got things to do, people to see, places to go. And I'm not sure if you're a part of that vision. And I did know I liked him, but he was.
You did ask me if I was serious. He said, "You serious?" I said, "Yeah, I'm serious."
Well, because he was a star athlete, as he mentioned, and I thought, it was too much for me at the time. Even though I wanted that, I wanted a person that I can date, but I had to stop and take a step back, and I made him do the same thing. And then he was like, okay, before I go into the military, I want to ask you this, and I'm going to give you 24 hours notice. That's where that came in, because he was leaving, so he figured he'd set it up. I was like, okay. So
we got to think, yes, the rest is history. The reason why I had to set it up is, listen, as a young man at that age, I knew that there was some things that I had to work on to get myself correct and get right. I can't take care of nobody if I'm not disciplined in what I want to do.
Now, I didn't need him to take care of me, but I wanted him to know that if you care, if we're going to have a plan, we need to make sure we can't just eat love because you're going to need money. You can't live in love. You're just, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, dude, what's your plan? What's your 5-year plan? And that was something my mother told me and my dad. Right. They had a great relationship. So I looked on that to help me kind of navigate with what I wanted in my relationship and what I didn't want.
I know that's right. She said it. What I didn't want. If I only knew.
Yeah,
If
she
I,
put me in my place.
I know. She was just like, wait, no, stop. That ain't gonna fly. You gonna do it again? Okay, so like, what was it like? How did you feel? Do you remember like how you felt, Angel, at the very beginning? Towards him and different things like that. Because I think that's important, for a woman to feel. Because guys feel different, than women, and I can kind of concur and understand. But at the same time, guys usually make up they mind, and that's it. Us, we got feelings and different things like that we kind of like. We feel first,
Right. You're right. And it doesn't even seem like it was that long ago now I think about it, but it was a long time ago. And I'm really proud of my younger self for even considering marriage, because I didn't want anything to do with marriage. I had a plan to do some other things, but I knew Ed was that guy for me and it didn't happen immediately. I had to see it over a course of time. I needed him, and I'm trying to find the right word, either prove himself to me that, like, show me how much you really care. Not just that's another story. But I needed to see certain things. I needed to hear, the things that you want. Like, I didn't have a list, but in my mind, it was like, it was this fake list. I was like, I don't want that, but I want this. And when he did above and beyond, I don't know what that above and beyond can be for other women, but like, you'll feel it. You're like, wait a minute, this is not just a physical kind of above and beyond. This is something that he respects me. He'll honor and appreciate me, right? And that thing right there, that's when I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a little different. And that's how I think you'll know. It's kind of like this intuition. And I really asked my mother and some good church women around me. Some church women was like, no, don't talk to him because he ain't in the church. There's a lot of people that was like, no, he ain't the one. And I was like, well, how do you know? I was that woman. I was that girl that would ask, well, tell me, what do you think? And then if he would say no, I'd say, well, tell me why. Because I would ask the question. And I would listen to what they had to say, but then I still had to make my own decision. So what that above and beyond feeling is, though.
Yes, you feel like complete right there. Not that he's making you complete, but you just feel really confident in the choice.
Right. There it is. Yep.
So okay, so Mr. Ed, what was it? What was it that made you feel like, you know what? This chick, regardless of what, because that's usually the mindset you guys have, regardless of what, this is my girl. What's that like?
She was different. Now, I used to go out partying with my friends and everything, going out to the club at that time, the club where we would normally go out, dance and everything. But there was something different about her. And I do believe that, like, the Lord set it up that way because, you meet people, but then, like, I can't put my finger on it. There's something different about her. And number one, she kept me in my place. I lost friends. I'll tell you this. Men, if you're listening to me out there, I'll tell you this. When you're in love with somebody and you know that you're in love and you start devoting your time to that person that you love, you will see friends drop off and you will see friends who are jealous as the relationship that you have. I was fine with that. I really didn't care. You can drop off what you want. You're not dictating my life. But it was just, I just knew because I saw at the bus stop. Now, if I'm driving and I see you at the bus stop and you caught my attention, there's something there.
I wonder what I was wearing now. I wonder what I was
wearing. She like, I'm going to find it.
You had black pants on. It was kind of cool outside. You had like a white jacket, not a white jacket, but some type of sweater or something like that. Like a turtleneck type thing. That's all I remember.
All right.
Because the rest I was just looking at you. And your hair was done up good too.
Thank you.
You didn't see.
Okay, I didn't have something in a long time.
Look, when they remember,
huh?
When they remember though,
Right?
No.
Listen, I had, like I told you the story before. I was her boyfriend before she knew it. So, it was October 26, 1989 is when I asked her out. It was a Sunday night. I was at my friend's house on Peach Street. I said, whoa. She said, why are you telling everybody? I don't know how you say it.
Well, I think I heard by way of his sister and a few of his friends that we were dating. I was like, no, we're not dating. We're talking.
In my mind, we were dating because, guys, I'll get you in that later on.
Right, but so
he laid his claim, honey. That's all that was.
So I had said to him when he called me that night, I was like, so why is it that you're telling everybody that we're dating? I didn't ever hear you ask me out. And so,
okay.
And he stopped and he immediately then I remember that being, I don't remember the date like he does, but I do remember it being Sunday night.
It was Sunday night. I was watching wrestling with my boys at his house, and I was like, yo, so bad. I thought, there was no cell phone back then. Get that phone, hit that roll, that dollar next. Okay. Hello?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's funny.
Oh my goodness, but that is so, that's what everybody wants. You want that person to just know, that person is just like, yeah, because, I'm not trying to put about me, but, I gave him 4 years the first time. Like, so 4 years sounds good to you? All right, let's do that, and just done, because like I just didn't feel that way, at all. But I always wanted that, so it's just like I was the one, everybody, like, I was like, oh, it's going to be a dream wedding. It's going to be this and that, this and that. And he's just going to sweep me off my feet. And everybody was like, no, that'll never happen. That's just fairy tale. Don't even go there. And I'm like, oh, really? So I came down year by year. And I was just like, all right, I guess.
But you're right though, Lady Myya. Let me tell you that's one of the reasons why we wrote the book, because even after all of that, right? Even after the bus stop, even after me feeling like, okay, this is the one. When we get married, then the story starts to write itself. Then the chapters start to move on, and then we get confronted with, there's some issues or flaws in me that he was, saying, oh, well, I didn't see that when you was at the bus stop, and of course, because you wouldn't see that, and maybe I didn't see that when he went off to the military, and so what we talk about is really talking about how you work through what you didn't see when you were swept off your feet, right? And we talk about that in the book, because I could have been like, no, as strong as I am in my faith or how I feel, will I walk away from this because he don't hear what I'm saying, or he doesn't want to talk about what I want to talk about? And so we were like, wait a minute, we can't be the only one faced with these challenges. We can't be the only one dealing, but ain't nobody saying nothing. And it's like, and if they are saying stuff, they're not really being real about it. Like, he's working, I'm working, I'm in school, he's in school, he's got a profession, and we're both strong, right? And who's gonna compromise? Who's gonna come to the table and say, you know what, we're gonna work through this. Maybe we can't get through it tonight. We'll table it for tomorrow, but we'll work through it. I'm not just going to throw you away, or maybe I'm mad at you, because being angry in a relationship is real. But it's how you deal with it. You know what I'm saying? It's just, to me.
You said it's 90%.
Oh, yeah. We say that all the time. It's 10% of what happens to you, but it's 90% on how you respond. And I had to check myself on my response.
Right. Now, no. See, I think... I love that, yes. But at the same time, I feel like, okay, we gotta go into something, I think, that's going to just give people a look and a sense into something that you guys have that many people didn't see in home, like, okay, so you guys, he wasn't saved necessarily. He might have had a God in him somewhat, right? He was halfway down. Okay, and she had it all together. How did that combination mesh? You know, like what was it of her faith to bring you to the faith?
Okay. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, she was in the church more than I was.
Mm-hmm.
I was out doing my thing. And so when you as a man, when you really commit and you want to do something the right way, you're gonna make some changes in your life. You're gonna try to do some changes. Now, I'm not perfect. I showed it to a rehearsal. I was drunk. Tell like it is. But you know what? But the thing is, how God can really change a person. You know, he can change the way you think. He can change the way you see things differently. And then once you really start to know who God is and really put him in the center of your life, then the whole world opens up to you, like the third eye, you want to call it that, where you're seeing spiritually, okay, wow, all right. And then you start to see some of the things where you may have fallen short, and some of the things how you've gotten to where you are. Because I'm telling you, if I was the old way of how I was, I would not. Yeah, I knew God, but I would not be where I am today, especially in this relationship.
I think too, as a woman, I made that decision past my a couple of people that would have said, well, he's not in church, right? So I decided that I was going to be with someone that I knew cared for me but didn't know God, and I realized
I wasn't a thug.
Well, in my eyes, it was I wanted a bad boy and someone that can hold the balance of both. But I realized that my walk and my faith with God is what he said to me. Even I think we were talking about it today. He said, if your faith wasn't strong the way that it was, I don't know if if he would have came around. Like we had this conversation about something, and I was focused on I had to change my focus. Like literally, I was like, okay, girl, you love him, and maybe he's not talking like you want to talk. Like, because I like to have intellectual discussions, and he was like, it was a yes or no response. I'm like, that's all you got,
No, that would drive me crazy.
I don't know. You know what? Let me. Okay. Yeah, I know that I have like one word answers and stuff like that. And I'm also a guy. It may tell me, hey, what? See, can I get it? No, I don't want to deal with it. And
but I had to. So my faith. For me, I had to focus on me. I really did, because I think if I had to focus so much on everything that he was doing, I would have walked out of the relationship a long time ago. Honestly, I would have walked out saying, okay, first of all, can we, this is what I need from you. And I literally had to lay it out as to this is what I'm looking for. And that's why we talk about that in the book. Be authentically you. Be you. And if that person can't accept you for you and you love you, then something ain't right, and you need to reevaluate what's going on in your relationship. And so when he started to at least take a step, I was like, okay, I'll stay for another, for another 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
I invited her out when she came out and party with us.
I did.
Of course, you gotta have some fun.
Who gets into a fight?
Right.
Oh no.
I go out. And I'm a pastor's daughter. So it was like
me too. Really? This is what we do.
I'm just saying. So I was trying to be something, I was enjoying it. I was like, okay. But I knew in my heart, I was like, I know there's more for us. And we laugh and smile now and we say, what if we gave up at year 10? What if we gave up at year 15?
Wow.
Not everybody's story is the same, and we recognize that. We recognize that the script is different for every relationship, and we're very sensitive to that. But what we always go back to are the principles of love yourself, love each other, and if you're both willing to work at it, then you can get somewhere. It's the problem.
Take the world.
Right. The problem comes is, seriously, is when the both of you aren't working at it. And so we had to come to terms of okay, are we going to do this thing?
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I think that's really, really important, because a lot of people, they don't make up in their minds that it's worth the relationship. They don't make up in their minds, and they sit there and they're like, well, I'm mad right now, and so I think I'm gonna have an exit strategy just in case. And now, it's when everything, hits the fan, you always look at the exit. Like, why are we doing that? That doesn't even make any sense. Okay, we can't turn around and just really try to work these things out. Talk about it. Let's do that. Like, I know me and my husband now, we don't argue at all. Like, we have full on conversations. And I love the fact she was just like, no, I need to have a conversation. And because him screaming in the first couple years that we knew each other, and I was just like, okay, I'm going in the other room. You can scream all you want, because I'm not going to be able to hear you. I don't do well with that. I'm just like, I've never heard screaming in my house. I'm not doing it. Now, if I'm screaming, it's usually at the kids. But usually, to scream with him, I'm like, we can't communicate this way. And I had that same thing. And I think you guys are probably there too, because it's like, y'all been together so long. You're like, and that's a whole conversation.
And in our best way, we try to share that, because what we do now is, Ed, as a former retired sheriff, we now realize that this is bigger than what we even expected. And we started to coach in relationships and in life. And it's interesting, when you brought up something a minute ago, is that we have coached many people. And one of the most saddening part of that story, if their relationship is either at a place where it's almost non-repairable, or it's maybe they're not going to move on together, but they can move on. And so how do you move on? You need to move on whole. But one of the things that you mentioned that kind of pierced my heart is that there were so many people that we coached that said, I didn't work at it. I walked away from it. And I wish that I had the opportunity. And I want to be where, and I think that we all should feel like that when you start working on any project, right? You want to, if whatever I've done, if it's good, I put my all in, right? And so I think if we can help anybody with this book or with our lives or our broadcast, like, it is just work on what you can, and as a team, because you're really stronger together. And once you can say, I did everything I can, then that's it. We ain't telling you to stay in an abuse. We're not telling you to stay in mental, physical abuse. We're advocates for getting out of things of that nature. But when you could say you at least tried, right? You at least did what you could, then the rest is like, hey, it's time for me to move on. But when you feel like, there's a little bit more try there, then go on, because you never know what can happen from that. Never know.
Like, when is it like, what is it like for you, Ed, when you decided, like, what was your turning point that got you to the point where, like, you know what, this is it. I know I chose her, but even through the harder times, when that was reaffirmed?
Well, you know what? It's so funny you say that, because I knew that I wanted to be with my wife. And what really solidified that is not only her, but her family. So when my father was murdered when I was like 18. And I didn't know what to do. I came out the house, my mom's house. I was like, driving around. And for some reason, I still to this day, I don't know how I got there in the condition that I was in. But the Lord brought me to her house, because Dad was her pastor. So I spoke to him. And for right then and there, I said, I knew right then and there, yep, this is where it is. This is what God has predestined for me, is right here. Because other people are telling you, I'm sorry, but the words that were spoken that night, in other words, they showed comfort. It's like a second dad. They showed comfort, rather than other people who would say some other thing differently. So right then and there, I knew, because you know what? When I was hurting, they were hurting. So when I didn't feel good, they didn't feel good. So, and they helped me through that. So I said, you know what? Right then and there, I knew.
And that's why we started doing what we're doing, because we feel like people do need in a relationship. It's hard to find the right people to talk to. It's because you don't know if they're gonna go back and relay your business and
put on Facebook,
right? And for us, it's a weight, but it's a good weight because we realized that when we needed that outlet, somebody was there for us.
Right.
And whether it was my mother or I have a mentor and just like a couple of, not a lot of people, but I think we feel that we see the importance of someone if you're married, you need someone that knows the ropes through a marriage or how to help you get through, right? And that's what we kind of said, all right, God, we really don't want to do this, but we understand it's a necessity because marriages are under attack. And daily we get messages daily, and we pray and we say, God, help this marriage or help this person to see what they need to do, or maybe if it's not meant for them. Like, so we pray a lot about how we can help people because we realize how we felt we needed some help.
But it's all about the context that you have. In other words, like if you've been married for 5 years, do not seek advice from someone who's been married for 2, because they had not gone through what you're going through. They had yet to even see or even scratch the surface, especially if you're dealing with 28 years.
True.
So you're going to see things, and you're going to go. There's different levels to this relationship. Something. If people if they're in a relationship and you want to keep it solid, keep other people out of your relationship.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Don't let people. Because like we said it before when we did seminars before, where I may go to my brother, yo, listen, or she may go to her sister, yo, he did this, he did that, he did this, he did that, and then we reconciled, but yet they're still in.
They still there.
They don't know what's going on. So
and they mad.
You keep people out of your relationship, and what you're really doing, like we said it before, like you're an architect. You're building your foundation, so you're laying down the foundation. You want to have a strong foundation, so where that you don't have no cracks or no leak in your foundation. Cracks and leak up, people seeping in other words, trying to destroy what you have. So you got to be aware of that, and there may be time where you have to get down in that foundation and retune it a little bit or get it worked up, but it's there. You have a basis of listen, my foundation is here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, question then, Mr. Foundation. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Because I find that some men, and they kind of get like run out of the church because other people said what they said or what have you. What would you say to them, just to kind of really get back and get grounded to where they can make their relationship work?
First thing they have to do is really get a relationship with God. If you have a relationship with God, no one's going to run you out of the church. The Lord will tell you what to do and what not to do. So you want to get a relationship with God, and you want to ask him specific questions like, what can I do to strengthen my marriage? Right. What are some of the things I need to change? See, men as men, I'm telling men, listen, you may write me up, email me, whatever it may be. But men have a habit of being quiet. Men don't talk. They don't express themselves like women do. Men are more likely to keep things inner and personal rather than speaking it out. And what that does is, women are not mind readers, men. They don't read your mind. You have to open up. You have to become vulnerable. You have to let your mate know, listen, I'm having this problem. I need for you to help me out. It was hard. I say, any man it was hard to let somebody in. But when you're vulnerable, you open up, and you have to realize that. Now, as far as like in the church setting, if you're confident in who you are, and you're confident that the Lord has brought you there to where you need to be, then you should have no problem letting anybody run you out of the church. In fact, they're going to be looking at you. Some people may want to run you out the church because of the fact that you're too strong and they can't handle it.
Yes, I like it. I like that. See? Okay. I need a couple of folks. I know that one right there. He said, got me sweating. Preach it, preacher.
But it's true because,
that may not be the church for
it,
you.
it may not be the church for you. Yeah, there can be church hurt, but there can be men hurting in church, women hurting in church, and there may be some church may try to break you down from where you know.
Yes, they do, sir.
Yes.
So if you're
right now,
and this is the pedestal that the Lord has put you on, remain on that pedestal. Do not let anyone break you down by trying to put words and spew seeds of doubt in your life. You can't do that.
That is so good. Ooh, can I do that on replay? I'm gonna just get played again.
Like, spew seeds of doubt in your life.
Yes.
Wow.
I think, sometimes we're so uncomfortable with who we are. We don't know. We have so many insecurities, and I think that keeps us from really going forward, unfortunately, and then you have so many people around you that will just pretty much feed into that too and make it worse, because now it's like, oh, well, I said it already, but now they're saying it, so now it must be true, kind of situation. And I think that's wrong, but what can you do? Like, you try to do
it all the time. But people try to input their little, I'm saying that, you got those haters out there who are hating what you guys have.
Yeah.
So if they're hating what you have, then they're going to do anything in their power to try and disrupt what you have or disrupt your relationship. And the best way to do it, if they can separate you and then talk, spewing that stuff, then divided you stand, but united you stand, but divided you fall.
Yeah,
you have to be together.
Yeah,
but men is going to be conversation. Conversation. You're gonna have to open up. You open up. When you open up, then your wife knows all your vulnerabilities. Then she knows all your hurts, all your needs, all your wants, all your concerns. Then it makes it easier if someone try to come in. No, listen, my baby told me that. That's already taken care of. You know what I'm saying? It goes it go either way.
Right. See, I like that. See, that's something truthfully needs to be said, and you just sit up there like, oh dang, why he had to talk to me like that? Like, it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna check myself. It's okay. Yeah. I think this is so phenomenal. I'm just so glad that you guys got a chance to really be on here, because there's so many other people that have, they have this whole image in their mind of what relationship is supposed to be. We supposed to at least get along at least 85 to 90% of the time, and sometimes that's not even what you guys do together. Like, you gotta find that balance, and then you really need to find out why they think the way they do, because like my husband, he's not from here, so he's from Trinidad, so like the way he grew up is way different than what I grew up,
it's really different compared to what
yeah. Exactly. So I was just like, your mindset, sir, is over there. I'll speak English, right? That's not what he heard. That's not what I heard. You didn't say that. Okay.
Listen, men get like that. Men get selective hearing, and sometimes it's the fact that, like, they got to realize, listen, I really have to stop and listen to what my wife or, whoever it is in a relationship is saying. Because when you're not thinking and you're still talking, you miss things. Right. You don't want to miss the importance of what's being said, because if she's saying something that's going to save your life, something that may help you out in the long run. But if you miss it, and then you're getting the shoulder when you walk in the house. And how's it? Fine. Oh boy, what's going on now? But you missed it. So you gotta stay woke.
You gotta stay woke. I love it. Yes, you said it, sir. Let me ask you this, because I think the both of you can probably answer this like perfectly, right? Uh-huh. Do you agree that women and men have different languages?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because I'm like, sometimes I thought I was talking English, but absolutely.
You know what it is? It can be like this. A man can have a different perception of what love is compared to a woman. Love, love is patient, love is kind. We can all say that. But my terms of love may be different from my wife's.
Yeah.
Where, I may think love is, all right, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to provide for you. I'm going to do this. Where she may say, no, love is like, you care for me. You're going to hug me. You're nurturing me. You help me if I need help. You're there. So men, there's different perceptions of what it is.
And that's we had that. We had two different views. And it wasn't until we were halfway through this thing, right? And we were like, hold on. What do you think love is? And it wasn't enough to talk about what the Bible says. It was like, what do you view as love? What did you, as you mentioned, like there's a different, the way you were raised, it gives you a perception about what love is. And I was like, well, can we put on the top of that list, like respect? Like for me, that's what love meant to me. Right. And then we started to filter it through. He was like, well, I already respect you. You know, I love you. And then I'm like, well, I need to see. We can go into then the 5 love languages that we talk about, the language of love. What my language of love is today, it may not have been that language 5 years ago. Right. And so when you look at the 5 different love languages, like gifts and physical touch and words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Right. See, that fell under him.
I like that.
And I needed.
She needed touch. It could be touch.
A gift or something. But the language, if we don't recognize, right, there is a language that we speak. Now, Ed may speak Spanish, and
Myya,
I only speak English. Me speaking English to him, he doesn't understand that. And if we look at it, that's like, I mean, that may be far-fetched, but if we look at it like that, like seriously, right?
That right there is a teachable moment.
Yeah.
Where if I don't speak Spanish and you speak Spanish, listen, give me the words that I need to know so that I know, okay, you said that, I know what she's talking about. If I say, whatever it may be, at least I'll understand, that word,
Right.
But we're literally, a lot of couples are in a relationship and she's like, I'm talking and you're not hearing because he don't understand your language. He can't hear you screaming. Yeah. He can't hear you hollering. He can't, that's too much for him. Right. I had to realize I had to change my whole approach. I was like, I'm pretty dope. I got to change my approach, guys. I know. Listen, girl, with your dope self, change your approach. Yeah. Your husband can't hear you when you coming off like that. And it's like a totally different language. And so one of the things we do in coaching is we really give the exercise of what was really effective for Ed and I was I wrote him a letter. I literally had to write him a letter so he can hear me. And this was after trying multiple different ways. I was like, okay, well, I done did that. That didn't work. I was like, it's time for me to go. God was like, go where?
Where are you going?
and I could probably find I was making money. I had me a car. We had a house. I could have left, but he was like, "You're not listening because you're too proud at what you think you know, and it's ineffective. What you're doing is ultimately it's not working because you don't see what I'm trying to show you." I wrote this man a letter. And it went back to it, and this is how it worked for him because when he was in the military, I wrote him a letter, and so it kind of
still got the letters,
right? And so it kind of reignited. I got his attention. There's some things we got to think about. What got his attention? Why he loved you so much? What made him fall in love with you in the first place?
Can I say something on that? Yeah. Guys, listen. Let me tell you something. All the work that you put in trying to get your lady and your wife. You need to still do the same thing. Sometimes we do it, figure that, we conquered, we're done. We don't have to do it no more. If you were wine and dining her, you need to set it up and keep doing the same thing. Because if that's what she loved about you, why stop?
Talk about it.
Like we're advocating, listen, you got to do a date night. Well, all the stuff going on now. Date in, and but you have to be aware of the thing that you're doing. So guys, don't give up. If you bought her flowers, I got to do more flowers. You got to do more. If I did that in the beginning, I want to keep doing it. At least show like, hey, listen, I respect you. I'm here. I understand. If you need anything, I'm here for you.
I love that. See, now when I say it, they don't hear me. That's what I'm saying. But I think, you know what, everything y'all said was on point. Like, it was so on point. It's stuff we know, but when we hear it again, just to, you know, get that reaffirmation of what it is that we need to do with our lives, and right. Or even, you know, just us looking at our significant other and just really having that respect, having the communication is key, boy. I'm trying to tell you. But, you know, having that communication and different things like that. And, you know, that's why I was asking the questions, because I'm like, a lot of times I do find, and I thought it was just me, because, you know, I think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs most days. So I was just like, okay, this is what I said. What did you get from that? And they were just like, oh, well, you just wanted to say such and such and such and such. And so when that person takes it so literal, is different, because their literal is not your literal. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're like, okay, well, you know what? The sky is turning red.
You're like, really?
He's just like, but that's not red. That's orange. It's yellow. It's going down. You know, and you're like, I just meant that it was changing colors, not to say that it was literally red, you know, or different things like that. So, you know, that interpretation does lose in a lot of the conversations that you try to have with people.
Yeah, I think it's important. One of the things, another step, we're giving you all the jewels today, because we want y'all to really understand that your relationship with yourself is worth the work, you're worth the work, your family is worth the work, community is worth the work. One of the things we tell our mentees when we're coaching them is, when you're having that conversation, or maybe it's we call it a heated discussion, and you don't see eye to eye, what we put out there is two things. Address the issue and not the individual, and then repeat back what they're saying, because often we miss what they're saying, because maybe it's how, like, I would come off in a way, Ed's like, here she goes, she's so animated, and as the officer that he can't, you know, maybe some of his attributes come into when he's working, he brings that into the relationship, so he's like stoic, and or maybe not hearing. So it's important to, number two, to repeat back what you hear. Say, I was insulted by what you said, it made me feel like, and then he says, well, I'm sorry that I made you feel, and then blah da 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 da. But it's important to hear what each other is saying, because at the end of the day, we realize the argument that we may have been in wasn't because he was squeezing the toothpaste from the bottom and I was squeezing it from the top, that there was something else that was going on that we never addressed and really talked about. Like,
you got one thing, love.
Yeah.
You know, and one thing we tell people to do is the fact that find a, you know, in your home, wherever, find a room where it's going to be a safe place.
Yeah.
And that's when you spoke about, you attack the issue and not the individual.
Yeah.
You know, you have that room. All of the, we'll say, the conversation that you're going to have, the heated conversation, whatever it may be, will happen in that room. And once it happens in that room, that's where it stays.
Right.
You come out with a different perspective, but that's where it stays. You don't bring that carryover out.
Right.
Into the, that's where it stays. It's there. It's done. If there's an item different, if it gets too heated, you got to step away. Listen, I got to step away. You got to, guys say this. You got to step away. Listen, babe, I got to step away. I'm not going anywhere. I got to step out the door, and I'm coming right back.
I got to make a breath.
It's too hot. My is popping right now. So I'm coming back. Let her know where you're going, because she may look at it as a sign. Oh, you walking out of here? You want to do what I have to say? So you need to do that. And, you know, like we said, you attack the issue, not the individual.
Exactly.
And the benefits, guys, far outweigh what you've gone through when you put everything all together.
Yes.
The benefits far outweigh what you've gone through. It makes it worth the work.
Right.
So you got paid. You got paid, but you know what? Your pay was beneficial for you. Because of the fact that, number one, it saved your relationship. Number two, it gave you clarity on what the
saved
both
your
of you
life.
Yep.
It saved my
your
life.
It saved my life. So you gotta realize that, you know what? Those are the benefits that outweigh everything else that's going on.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Y'all gave us so many tidbits because a sister, I'm sitting here like, you better say so. You don't say it, girl.
But it's a consistent thing, though. I just want to feel like we have our issues probably yesterday or maybe earlier today, but how are you going to handle it? It's like how you approach it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always like my dad would tell me. It's not the pie in the sky. It's not like everything's not going to be rosy and peaches and cream. It's just are you willing to just because he disagrees, you can agree to disagree, Angel. It's like, okay, I got you. But how we move forward, it is really, and it affects every other relationship moving forward. That's what I realized too.
What's your best saying? If only what you do affects only you.
Ooh. Oh my. You didn't have to go there. You cut us. You cut us, sir. You cut us.
My wife, when she said that, my baby, when she said that, I was like, wow. If only what you do only affected you. Mm-hmm. What we fail to realize is the fact that, listen, there's other people around you. So the situation or the mistakes that you make or the things that you do not only affects you, but it affects your wife, your children, your household.
Right. Yes. So it makes you think. That's when I stop and say, oh, that split second. Oh, girl, don't go throwing that across the room. It may hit or break something, or whatever. Just allow that 10 seconds. We do a lot of breathing. I talk about this now because I realized I had to do that for me, and it helps. And maybe everyone else is different, but if you stop and think like that, wait a minute, is this going to benefit just me, or is it going to be helpful, or is it hurtful? Consider those things. I think it's important.
The main goal is the family unit and everyone that's involved, especially you and your mate. That's the main goal. You want to make sure that right there is what's taken care of. Then everything else is going to fall in line. Right. Because your kids are going to say, oh, they'll know. Listen, they'll know if there's issues. They'll know if there's problems. And then they'll sense it. And then their attitude or their situation, their demeanor may change differently toward whoever they perceive that have won the argument or the situation. So you have to be aware of that.
That's true, because that will definitely divide the house. Okay, I think Mama won. Let me go over here with her. Nope, Dad had that. Yeah, I see you, Pops. I see you. I can dig that definitely, because you really have to worry about the whole household, and you don't want anybody else to be in your mess because you want to deal with it. Head on. Let's figure this thing out. And I think that is so important. I love it. Where y'all been? Where y'all been? I love this. But you know what? If there's anything y'all want to say to my Mayan tribe, you guys, the floor is yours.
Well, we want to encourage you guys to know that love is really worth the work.
Yes, it is.
It may not seem like it in the pain that you're being faced with right now, but in the end, if you like right now we're in a pandemic, you wear your mask now, it'll benefit you for later. If you wash your hands, if you take your vitamins, whatever that might be, in the end you'll see what benefits as Ed mentioned, the benefits you'll get from that. But if you're looking for direction and looking for help, one of the things we suggest is pray and ask God for direction and wisdom and guidance to direct you to the right people, because He will do that. He will set people in your path that will help you and understand that we're examples of that. And you can always reach out to Ed and Angel, the Cooper Chronicles, at our Facebook page. Get the book. Do the work that's in the book. It's very interactive. It allows you to really reflect where I am, what can I do. And so we want to inspire you guys and encourage you. Do this for you. Love you first and love God, and everything else will fall into place.
If I was speaking to the men, which I am, if I was speaking to the men, I think one thing you need to learn is that, listen, just because you're vulnerable, it does not make you weak. You're not a weak person because, you're giving your heart to your mate, your wife. You're not weak. She should be the one who can see the very in, your inward soul really, of what you're going through, how you're going through it, because who else is going to help you? You don't go get it from your friend. There's certain things that as a wife, like they always say, like the man is the head, but you know, the wife is the neck. Because listen, she steers you in the right direction, where you need to go, what you need to do.
Yeah.
So you gotta, men, we have to realize that, and realize that, listen, they're not there to hurt, but they're there to help. It's a help. That's your helpmate. Respect your helpmate, things will be fine. But remember, you're not weak if you're being vulnerable for your wife, if you're opening up to your wife. You're not weak. It's not a sign of weakness. You're strong men. Remember that. And like you said earlier about the church, you know, and all that, don't let nobody break you down to where they want you to be. Be who you are.
Exactly. Got chills on that one. Okay, so you guys, I thank you so much for joining us one more time with Living Your Best Life with Lady Myya. I think this has been like one of my faves, y'all.
Oh, thank you.
We had so much fun.
I had fun, yes.
It seems like I've known you forever.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, girl, call your ex-wife.
15 years.
Like, I know, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I have such a connection with them, you guys. But you know what? We're going to end this. And you guys, if y'all want to listen, y'all got to jump on this. This is such an amazing thing. Ed and Angel are doing it big, boy and big girl style. I'm telling you, it's like they came on like boom. And I was like, yes, let's get it. And that's how we do it here in Living Your Best Life with Lady Myya. You guys, if you want to be on the show, you can always hit me up. admin@ladymyya.com or ladymyya.com. That's MYYA. And you know why? Because your homegirl is special. I want to hear your story. Go ahead. You can also text me at 214-529-0980. I look forward to talking to you.